In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the hatch command. So in AutoCAD, when we're drawing, sometimes we come into situations where we need to do a repeated pattern in a profile that might not be rectangular or circular. It's a bit irregular. So what we have for that is the hatch command. And the hatch command can be found in the draw panel under the home tab, just over here. And you'll see I've got two different types of hatches I can create, a hatch or gradient hatch. So the gradient hatch is found under the hatch command as well, and I'll show you how to do both. So when you select the hatch command, what you'll notice is that the ribbon at the top will change. So it has now a hatch creation tab on it. And there's a couple different ways that we can select the boundaries or the profiles that I want for the hatch. First is to pick a point. And with Pickpoint, it allows me to come through and click inside a profile that I've got. Okay. Or what we can do, let's just delete that quickly. We can go and select a profile, so an entire profile over there. So with the circles, I selected inside the circle profile, and with the rectangle, I selected the actual profile line itself. Okay. So if I had to do something like this, and the profile doesn't have to be a polyline. So when I say pick points inside, it's going to pick a point inside that profile over there. Once we've done that, we can then go and select the pattern that you want. Now the patterns over here, this is what the patterns consist on. If your dialog box opens up and you don't see most of the hatch patterns, you can just drag it out and you'll see all the hatch patterns over here. Now we'll see there we've got our regular ANSI 31, and that's just the slanted lines that go across, which most people would use for section views. Now it looks like just a solid hatch, but that's because the lines or the gaps between the lines are quite tiny, or quite small. So what we need to do is we need to go and change that the scale. So I'm going to say 1000. Oopsie, not 10,000. Okay, that's a little bit big. Let's make it 500. Let's make it 50. Okay, even 25. Okay, so that looks like a nice scale for the hatch over there. With that hatch, we can also change the angle. So you can see there I can just change it, and it can either slant to the left or the right. Once we're happy with that, the other option that we've got is we can also change it and put onto a different layer. Now this is actually quite nice, because most of the time what happens when we are creating a hatch, we will find that we forget to actually activate the hatch layer. So I'm just going to go and create a hatch layer over here, and the reason we do this is that hatching is quite heavy. So when you are working and you don't need to see that hatch, rather go and rather go and freeze that layer so that AutoCAD just works a little bit better. So what we'd normally do is we'd go there, change it to hatch, and then we go to the hatch command and select inside, and it'll put on the layer. But that's what we should do, but that's not what we always do. Many of the times, we kind of so into our CAD design that we forget to change that that layer over there. So what happens is we'll be on the current layer, sort of furniture or windows or whatever it is. We'll go to hatch, and as we go and we select it, we think, oh dear, I haven't put it on there. So yes, we could close hatch creation and then select it and then change it in the home tab over there. But what AutoCAD has now is if you just go to the drop down under properties over there, it allows us to go and change it to the hatch layer while we are still in this hatch command over here, which is quite nice. If the other type of hatch which I did speak about was the gradient hatch, so if you do take a look at that, you'll see there's a gradient hatch, and with that gradient hatch over there, I'm able to go and change the different colors of the gradient hatch. So you can see there I can change it from like a reddish to a green, and you've got all these different types of gradients over here. Now with this over here, we have some options as well. So one of the options is gap tolerance. So this gap tolerance over here, you're able to just increase. So when you are creating a hatch, make sure that you've got closed profiles. Sometimes when you are drawing and you're trimming and extending, AutoCAD won't close properly, or maybe you were drawing a line and it hasn't had the proper, you didn't have your object snaps on, so you're not snapping and closing up your profiles. And with this gap tolerance, you just increase it, and then hopefully you'll be able to, AutoCAD will ignore that open gap and then put the hatch in. If it doesn't, then you'll have to go and fix those holes. Okay, so it's always good and important to have precise drawing when you're working with your hatches. Now, in your eyelid detection, so this is quite a nice little feature over here where you can have normal outer detection, normal eyelid detection, outer eyelid detection, or ignore eyelid detection, or no eyelid detection. So it just turns off the eyelid detection over there. So I'm going to say normal, and what you'll see, it'll pick up those little islands in the middle over there. Okay, so that's normal. Obviously, we've seen with ignore, we just go straight through and it'll just hatch everything. And then you've got your outer eyelid detection, and it'll just detect the outer islands and not do that. If you do want to go and additionally add that, afterwards, you can go and select in there. Okay, it's not select. Okay, I think it's because we've got that eyelid detection on, so that's why it's not doing it. So if you want that, actually what you have to do is go to normal eyelid detection. Okay. So once that's done, and you're good to go, we can then also do some boundary detection. So not boundary detection, but send the boundary to the back or the front. So when you are working with your hatches, just note that even though this line that I created over here, it is a boundary, and because it is attached to the hatch, I'm able to go and select these points. And the reason I'm selecting the two lines over here is because I didn't say it was a polyline. It's just normal lines. If I had to pull the one line, it would kind of break it. One other thing that you can do with hatch as well is you can also trim hatch. So if you haven't seen this function before, we are able to go and trim, and you'll see there, okay, I don't think it's done that because it's not a polyline. So if I had to go and create a polyline out of that, it would work. So let's go do that quickly just to go make sure that works. Let's go join. Okay, let's hatch. And let's go and try that trim again. So trim. Let's see. Could it be because we are hatching with a gradient? Let's just find out. So let's do this. Hatch. There we go. Done. Let's create our line. Trim. Okay, there we go. So it was because we're doing the gradient hatch. So with the normal type of hatch, able to take your line and then trim it. And this is also, if I grab this line over here, you'll see there that it does update the hatch as well. Okay. Cool, so there it is associative. So there we go. The hatch command, very nice, quick, simple way of creating patterned lines, for your patterns, brickwork as well. So as I said, the last thing is, if you are working with this, freeze it so that when you are working with the rest of your AutoCAD drawing, it's not going to kill your system. Okay. Great. Thank you very much for watching.